Weather is changing. I mean, you can feel autumn knocking on the door. The cold is at our door, and that's a clear indication that the flu season is upon us. With the growing numbers of people getting infected with coronavirus, many of us might be afraid to get sick. So how do we protect ourselves under lockdown? Joining me to discuss this is Dr. Melinda Suchard, the head for the Center for Vaccines and Immunology at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases, that's the NICD. Dr. Suchard, very good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. The flu season, as we say in South Africa, with winter coming, is upon us. I guess it's very important that we get flu vaccines.
Yes, flu vaccines are an excellent option if there's stock available. So there's usually not enough stock for everybody who needs a flu vaccine. Flu vaccines are recommended in particular for health workers, and this year health workers are going to be prioritized for flu vaccine. But if there is sufficient stock, then other risk groups should certainly consider flu vaccines. The next target group is those over the age of 65. Particularly if they have underlying health disorders, lung disorders, or high blood pressure, previous cardiovascular problems, they should also be prioritized for flu vaccine.
And what about people who've got underlying health diseases?
So people living with HIV/AIDS have an indication to receive the flu vaccine, as do pregnant women. Flu vaccine is evidence-based to prevent influenza in pregnant women. So those are also target groups for the vaccine. But because of stock availability issues, people should check with their health providers whether there is stock available before trying to go out to receive the flu vaccine.
Yeah, I started taking a flu vaccine annually many years ago, just to encourage my late dad, who didn't want to take one when he was older and his immune system was compromised. And I haven't stopped. And just the other week I went to Discam and asked if they got one in stock, and I got one. But the important thing to understand is that a flu vaccine by itself will not stop you from getting sick. Am I correct?
Well, flu vaccines should stop you from getting influenza. However, there are many other respiratory illnesses that cause the common cold, that cause a runny nose, that cause you to cough. They're not all influenza, and they're certainly all coronavirus. So,
yeah. And many people, sorry, Dr. Suchard, and many people will take a flu jab, and then a few weeks later they have a sinus problem, they have a cold, they think, the flu vaccine doesn't work.
Right. So the flu vaccine protects very specifically against influenza A and influenza B, which are two particular viruses, but it cannot protect you against other viruses that circulate every season.
Now, the 2020 version of the flu vaccine, will it contain or be able to prevent new strains of influenza?
So it will prevent the influenza A and influenza B strains that are circulating this year, that have been circulating in the northern hemisphere in their winter, and it should work against the strains that are coming this season.
Now, if you are healthy and your immune system is strong and you've been doing okay, you don't really need to take a flu vaccine now, or should you, under the circumstances of the COVID-19 crisis?
So there would be no harm in you taking the flu vaccine yourself. However, because of the stock issues, we would prefer the stock to be prioritized for health workers and those over the age of 65.
Yeah, well, as I said, I got my jab about 2 Sundays ago at Discam. Was I being irresponsible?
No, certainly not. It is difficult to plan the rollout of these vaccines, so it does often work on a first-come, first-served basis. But I think there is going to be some attention paid now to diverting the stock towards the people that the government is prioritizing as at risk of spreading influenza and at risk of having symptoms of, for example, cough, and then needing to be off work while they are being tested for potential other viruses like coronaviruses. So, this year I think there will be some attention paid to trying to keep the stock availability to health workers primarily.
Yeah. How long is our flu season, Dr. Suchard? I'm just asking it because, we've seen impact of climate change where seasons seem to feel and look different at an anecdotal level. But is our flu season from now, as in March, April, right through to August, September?
So it's in winter. It usually starts around May, but it can start earlier, as early as late March, early April. And it's usually around 3 months, but some years it's longer. It can be 5 months. So it does vary season by season.
And how late into winter can I take and benefit from a flu vaccine?
So you need to take it as early as possible in the season because it will take a few weeks to get your immunity working. And then, your immunity needs to kick in before you become exposed to influenza.
Okay, thank you very much for your insights there, Dr. Melinda Suchard from the Center for Vaccines and Immunology at the National Institute for Communicable Disease. Get your flu jab. If you know somebody in your family, in your surrounding, in environment who are vulnerable, encourage them to do so. Hopefully, they'll find that there is stock available.